Hi everybody. So yeah, today we're gonna delve into the crazy history of what we call today the battery. Now, to start things off, there's definitely various forms of the battery. This to what's already built into your cell phone, or smartphone, which sometimes are removable and sometimes are not, depending on the phone. But anyways, let's jump right into it. First off, actually the battery is a lot older than what you think. In fact, there's been records of like finding things that were called batteries as early as 200 BC in Iraq. With this first battery that was found, actually 1930 and 1938 by Wilhelm Koenig. Apparently what he found were these peculiar clay pots while digging in Baghdad. And these clay pots contained iron rods encased in copper, and encased in copper, and it was suggested that these vessels had once been filled with acidic substances such as vinegar or wine, leading Wilhelm to the conclusion that these were just really old batteries, since a lot of batteries do contain some sort of acid within them to like get the spark going, essentially. Though interestingly enough, those batteries that he found were probably actually used for religious rituals, healing purposes, or even electroplating. And though actually centuries before these batteries were even found, back in 1799, though not centuries before that those Baghdad batteries were invented, but centuries before they were found in 1799, a physicist named Alessandro Volta made the first modern battery by basically making layers, by stacking alternate layers of zinc, brine soap plasterboard, or cloth and silver. This arrangement began what was known as the voltaic pile, and interesting enough, this was not the first to create electricity per se, but it was the first to create a stable current, which is what batteries do, is that they create a stable current within the device they're in. Even though this would be considered the first modern battery, the stacking part was limited to the weight. Yeah, the stacking part was limited because the weight of the pile would squeeze the brine of the plasterboard cloth. And also there's the fact, since there was no involved, the metal disc tended to erode quickly, so then I was like, nope, never mind about that. And then fast forward less than a century later to 1836, when an English chemist named John Frederick Daniel invented the Daniel cell. Within this more developed battery, essentially, a copper plate was placed at the bottom of a glass jar, and a copper sulfate solution was poured over the plate to have fill the jar, not all the way, but just half, since things have to be exact in order to work correctly. So just half, good enough. And then the zinc plate was hung in the jar, and a zinc sulfate solution was added, so just poured over that. And since the copper sulfate was denser, was denser than sulfate, the zinc solution floated to the top of the copper solution and surrounded the zinc plate. And since in every battery there's always like a positive and like negative end, what would happen? The wire part that was connected to the zinc plate represented the negative terminal, while all the other wire leading from the copper plate was the positive terminal. So like positive, negative, yep. Since that's how batteries work, usually there's a positive terminal and negative terminal. Yeah, interesting enough. This kind of thing would not work today with today's technological needs, but for like stationary purposes, if you're not moving the thing around, yeah, it would just fine. Like if it was just there, all good. Like interesting enough, back then, this kind of battery called the Daniel cell was used for doorbells and telephones before the whole electricity thing started to get going within Thomas Edison's era and stuff with light bulb and everything else. So yeah, then just a little bit after that, 62 years later, about the Columbia dry cell battery became the first commercially available battery sold in the United States. This was the manufacturer of this battery, National Carbon Company, later became the Ever Ready battery company, which makes the Energizer brand battery, which is one of the most popular batteries ever, along with later on Duracell and other companies. And now pretty much so many people make batteries now, it's not funny. Even Amazon does, just because they can. Worth $1 trillion, so but yeah, and that's the lovely history of the battery, dating all the way back many millennia. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Smash a like and see you next video.